Hello YouTube, thought I'd do another video here. This is going to be part 3 of my handheld interface board. This interface board that I'm designing and trying to build here will let you hook up a handheld, no VOX, no radio modifications, plug and play into a computer. The computer will use a COM port so that you can run programs like Zello, date and time and weather announcements, and repeater ID. Now you're probably wondering, well, why would I want to do this? Why would I need to hook this up? Let's say you have a repeater that you cannot get online because that repeater does not have a hookups to physically hook it up to some type of interface board. But you want that repeater to do repeater ID, or you want it to do Zello, or you want to do a date and time and weather announcements. Whatever the case may be, you want it to have those capabilities. So what you could do is you'd program this handheld to the repeater frequency that you're trying to get online. As long as you're within the repeater range, you can get any repeater online. Now, of course, if you are kind of far away, you may have to use an external antenna. These antennas on these handhelds unscrew, and you can hook up to a coax and put an antenna outside to get better range. But that's the purpose of this interface board. It's not really meant to be a repeater in itself, although technically, but that's a whole nother video. But for now, that's what the purpose of this is for. So you can get a repeater online. Now, before you run around and start getting all these repeaters online, if it's not your repeater, you must ask the owner if they want it to be online. Some owners do not want the repeater online. Some of them don't want Zello. Some of them don't want none of that stuff. So that's, so make sure you ask before you just start getting repeaters online. Okay, so now we're done with that. So now what we're going to do here is, and before I get into even more into this, I've had people ask me if I'm going to build this circuit for SIR. And as I said before in my other video, it depends on a couple things. The first thing is it's going to depend on how well this circuit works. I just don't want it to work. It has to meet my expectations. It's got to, I'm kind of picky, so I just don't want it to work. I want it to be, as best as it can be, obviously. So if it passes all the tests and it does what it's supposed to do, then the next thing is, do I have enough interest in making it worth my while to go ahead and make up these boards and to have this available? So that's another thing. If I don't have enough interest, then I don't do it. Then it's not feasible to do it. Now, if you're wondering about when do I decide this, I do on my forum. And I should have mentioned this in the other video, but I forgot, so I'm going to mention it now. On my forum, I do have a category called discontinued products / projects put on hold, or something to that effect as a title. Now, if you're wondering about a project that I did a few months ago, like, okay, is he still doing it? What's going on? I may have put it on hold because there was not enough interest in it. So go to my forum, look on that category, and see if it's on there. If it is, I will put a reason why it is. Maybe something didn't work the way I wanted it to. Maybe there wasn't enough interest. Whatever the case may be, go there and check it. I don't want to make update videos every month about all these projects that I'm doing. I just rather just post it on that forum. So check that out. Now, back to this. So now what we're going to do is I have two handhelds, and they're programmed to my repeater, which is off camera. The repeater that I'm using in this video is the two mobile radios that I'm testing a interface board for. I did a video about that a few weeks ago. I'm still using that repeater. Now, I also have a simplex repeater hooked up, programmed to that repeater. And the reason being is I like using the simplex repeater to help test my circuits. The reason that is that it copies what I do. If I key up for a second, it's going to key up again after I'm done. And that helps me test, in that particular case, the receive capabilities of my interface board. So it helps me kind of do a whole bunch of testing. So I use the simplex repeater, which is on. So when I do something in this video, we got to wait a second for the simplex to copy me so that we can go on to the next step. So I just want to explain that, why I run that simplex repeater. I also have a tablet here that is on Zello that's to my repeater test channel. So that's what I have. Now this particular video, I guess I should have mentioned in the beginning of it, I did part 1, part 2, this is part 3. Part 1 was the receive test. Part 2 was a transmit test. Part 3, which is this video, is going to be the play over Zello test. And also I've redid the whole board, so to speak, and I've added LED lights on the interface board to help know what function it's in. That way it kind of helps with troubleshooting. And also one of the LEDs, and I'm not going to get into the details in this video, one of the LEDs will help in aiding to adjust the board for handhelds. But that's a whole nother video. But I've added those. So today we're kind of testing like two functions, I guess, so to speak. But to test those 2 functions, I got to do key ups, I got to transmit, I got to do receiving. So we're kind of testing those at the same time. So, you know, just to kind of explain that. So it'd be a little bit of testing. Hopefully this video won't be too long. I'm going to try not to make it long. But I just kind of want to explain what is going on. So I think I've explained everything. So what I'm going to do, let's call up Zello and date and time. Now, let me, if you're new to this video or you're new to this, I have 2 programs that I'm going to be using. One right here is date, time, and weather announcements if you enable that. The other one here, obviously, is Zello. So that's also, I have that on. Now, this weather or this date and time does have some neat features. You can select right here a header message, meaning before it announces the date and time and weather, do you want to play a message? And you can make your own message. It could be a pre-recorded voice. It could be your call sign. Your repeater ID could be converted, your call sign to Morse code. You can do that before. And also there's an option to do a goodbye message. Again, same thing. It's after the date and time and weather. You can select that and then browse your WAV file to your pre-recorded message. So that's kind of a neat thing about this. Now, I want to mention here, before I forget, how this is going to work in this video. We have a cuckoo bird right here. And this cuckoo bird will go behind a shutter only when a radio is keyed up, whether it's a handheld, whether it's a mobile radio. The purpose of that is because if someone's talking, we don't want, if the time is up, because you can adjust the time here, as you can see, to play your date and time and weather announcements. When the time is up, we don't want it to key over somebody and start playing the date and time and our messages and all that stuff. So when a handheld is keyed up, only a radio, again, can be a handheld, could be a mobile, only when that's keyed up, the cuckoo bird will go behind the shutter. It will not go behind the shutter when Zello's keyed up. And we don't need to do that with Zello because you can make, depending on how you set up your Zello channel, you can make the repeater not be a moderate. Now, if you, you can look online for more information. But if you make your repeater not be a moderate, it cannot key up over somebody. It will beep back at the repeater, and it will not interrupt people. So we don't have to worry about that with Zello. So now, that's what the cuckoo bird is going to be for. Now, also on Zello here, we have a transmit and we have a receive. When the radio is receiving a signal, you will see, which will be the receive on Zello, you will see the status go from waiting to active, sending going from no to yes. When Zello is keyed up, meaning when I press this button on my tablet, that's going to be transmitting, and that's going to be up here, and that's going to mean the status to go from waiting to active and receiving from no to yes. Okay? Remember, I have a simplex, so it's going to copy what I do. So we got to wait for that. So now, what I want to do here is I want to kind of go through here and kind of make sure everything's working correctly. Now, for those of you that may be wondering, I have a handheld here that has a jack or a plug into the microphone jack. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to disable the built-in microphone. I want to make sure the circuit only turns on when there's no sound. I want to make sure any background noise does not activate this circuit. So that's why I have that plugged in. Now you can do it with any radio, with just even a cord. As long as the other end of the cord is not plugged into something, it will disable the built-in microphone. So that's why that is. So now let's go ahead. I'm gonna now also, I guess I better mention, when I key up a radio, you're going to see the lights. There's lights on the board here. When it's the interface board is in receive mode, you'll see a green LED light. When the interface board is in transmit mode, you'll see a red LED light when it's in transmit mode. So I need to explain that. When a radio is in transmit mode, you'll see a red light on the radio. And then when the radio is in receive mode, you will see a green light. I do not have any sound circuitry hooked up to this interface board yet. I'm testing this in stages, as I mentioned in another video. I'm about 75% done. If everything checks out okay. Obviously, off camera, I got to do a lot more testing. So I'm going to key up this radio. And what you're going to see happen is you're going to see Zello go in the receive mode here, the RX, go from waiting to active. You're going to see Zello here key up. You'll see like a green, the circle will turn green, and you'll see me key up because you'll see the red light on here. And when I unkey, my simplex is going to do the same thing. It's going to copy me. So let's see if I can get all this. Hopefully, me being so close is not going to interfere too much here. Let's try this. Now the simplex is going to kick on. It's going to retransmit, and we see all three green lights. And then I don't know if you noticed it when I was keying up the radio, the green light on here. So everything, and you see the green light around there. Zello was receiving just fine. So that's good news. That circuit's still working. Now I'm going to key up the Zello. What you're going to see happen, you're going to see a red light on the radio key up. You're going to see a red light on the interface board. You'll see a green light on here because obviously it's coming back from the repeater, and this radio is receiving it. So let's go ahead and key up. Now my simplex is going to retransmit, so it's going to be all green lights, and Zello is also green. So good news, that is working really well. Now here's the part I want to test. I am going to let's clear the screen here. Remember I said I added a function to have it play date and time and weather over Zello, or not have it play over? Well, here's how we're going to do this. And this is kind of a neat thing that I kind of added here. Let me find my mouse. And of course my mouse is going to, I don't know what's going on here. My mouse. Come on, mouse. Okay, there we go. Okay. I think always happens when you're in the middle of a video. That's the nature of the beast. Okay, we got the mouse here. So what I'm going to do here is when I hit play on here, you're going to see the radio. It's going to go in transmit mode. You're going to see Zello go into receive mode. This will go green. And then obviously this light here will be green. And then on here, you'll see both red and green lights go. Now, I don't know if you can hear that or not. You probably can't. Over my speakers in my headphone, it's playing, it's saying my date and time, so I got to wait for that to get done. But as you notice, it's also keying up Zello, it's keying up the radio, and so right now, the date and time, if I had sound hooked up, it would be playing over Zello. See the green light? Now my simplex is playing. Now I don't want it to play over Zello. I just want it to play over the radio. How do I do that? Okay, so now let's let my simplex here get done here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we got a neat little feature here. We're going to go to COM port, and I'm going to uncheck this box. Now what should happen, when I hit play, it should only go over the radio. You'll see a transmit here. You'll see a red light here. You'll see a green light here because it's playing over the radio, but you will not see Zello key up. That should stay orange. So there you have it. That's how you can turn that function on off really easy within the software, just by checking a box. Now, as you can see, it's not playing over Zello. It was playing over the airwaves because this was in transmit mode. Now my simplex is going to copy it here, so we got to wait for that to get done. Well, I guess I could still talk, but when I was doing that, it was only doing transmit on the radio, red on here, and green on here, and Zello was not green. When Zello's on or someone is talking or something's keyed up, you'll notice the Zello will go to green. I'm going to do it one more time. You'll see what I mean. This will not go green. It would only be red, green, and red. No Zello. So there you go. So that's the nice option. Some people may not want that to play over Zello. They don't want that. They just don't want it at all. And you're not really required to do your repeater ID over Zello, technically speaking. But some people might want it. So now if you want it, now let's let the simplex get done here. I'm going to go back and turn that function on. And again, it's real simple. We go to COM ports. We check that box right there. We close it. Let the simplex here get done. Now we're done. Everything's in standby mode. Now if I hit play on here, we're going to see it play over Zello, radio at the same time. So you'll see green, green, red, red, and green on the interface board. Look at that. Working real good, real good, real good. And yeah, so that's how simple I'm going to make this be, that you check certain boxes to activate certain functions with this interface board. Now, I'm going to kind of get a little ahead of myself, and I'm going to show you something else that I didn't really was going to plan to do, but what the heck, we're only at, make the video a few more minutes longer, not a big deal. So let's wait for the simplex to get done. And I want to get done, and I want to show one other thing here that I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about it, and I believe I have it hooked up. But this adjustment here on the interface board lets me determine when the signal level of the radio is required. If I turn this all the way too much, see the green light's coming on and it's keying up Zello? I don't want that, so that's too much. I got to back it down. Now we're set up to key up a radio. That's the type of adjustment I'm hoping to make, because every radio, see now it's keying up? Every radio obviously is going to be different, so I'm going to have that type of adjustment. So that's my plan. So this is it. I mean, we're getting a step closer. The only thing left, I believe, is going to be the sound. So let's hope that goes well. But at any rate, if you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. Please subscribe. Thank you, and have a good day.